Welcome, class. And here in Unit 1, this is page 2. So before we head into the grammar, let's do a warm-up practice. So in this unit, we're going to review many verb tenses: the simple present, the present progressive, simple past, past progressive, present perfect, and present perfect progressive. So I'd like you to keep that in mind as we go to this page and do the reading/listening. Here, as you can see on page 2 of Touchstone 4 student book, you see a reading, and here there's also a listening. I have the control for the listening portion. I don't think you have access to listening, so I will play the tape here and you can watch and listen. So if you have already purchased your book, you can open your book to page 2. So I would like you to kind of follow, look at the screen, look at this video, and follow along the reading and listen to the interview, okay?
Touchstone Students Book, Level 4, Page 2, Unit 1, Interesting Lives. Lesson A, Interviews. 1. Getting started. B. Listen and read. Do you have anything in common with Melita? Tell a partner.
English Department News. Student of the Month, Melita Cortez. You should really get to know Melita Cortez, a graduate student in our English department. Also a talented artist, she spends her free time painting, and she started a sculpture class last month. She hopes one day to have an exhibition of her work. How long have you been living here?
I've been living in Mexico City for 5 years. I came here to go to school originally. It's a great place to live.
Have you ever lived in another country?
No, I haven't. But my brother has. He's been living in Bogota, Colombia for almost a year now. I'm going to visit him later this year.
What kind of music are you listening to currently?
Well, of course I love Latin music. I'm listening to a lot of Latin jazz right now. I like to listen to music when I paint.
What's your favorite way of spending an evening? What do you do?
I like to go out with my friends. We go and eat someplace and then go dancing all night.
When did you last buy yourself a treat?
Last week, actually. I was at a friend's art studio and I fell in love with one of her paintings. So I bought it.
What did you do for your last birthday?
I went home and had a big party with my family.
What's the nicest thing anyone has ever done for you?
Actually, about 6 months ago, I was complaining to my dad that I didn't know how to drive. So he paid for some driving lessons. I was thrilled.
Who or what is the greatest love of your life?
Oh, chocolate. I can't get through the day without some.
What were you doing at this time yesterday?
I was sitting on a bus. We were stuck in traffic for an hour.
Okay, class, so we have read and listened to English Department News. So now I'd like you to pay close attention to this interview. And I'd like you to work with a partner. Okay, so one student will ask the same question, but instead of using how long have you been living here, look at the first question. Instead of saying how long have you been living here, you're going to ask your partner, how long has Melita Cortez been living here? Now, student A will ask the questions. You need to change the subject. So instead of you have to use Melita Cortez. So how long has, not have, how long has Melita been living here? And then student B, I'm going to ask you not to look at the answer, but just sort of remember her answer. You don't have to remember every exact detail of her answer, but just the important information. So you can say, okay, so student A, you will say, how long has Melita been living here? And then student B will say, she has been living here or living in Mexico City for 5 years. That's it, okay? And continue. So the second question, student A, you're going to ask student B, has she ever lived in another country? Okay, third question, what kind of music is Melita listening to currently? So what kind of music is Melita listening to currently? What is Melita's favorite way of spending an evening? What does she do? When did she last buy herself a treat? What did she do for her last birthday? What's the nicest thing anyone has ever done for her? Who or what is the greatest love of her life? And the last question, what was Melita doing at this time yesterday? Okay, so when you are done, I'd like you to change roles. Okay, now student B, you ask the same question to student A. And student A, make sure that you answer using Melita as the subject. Okay, so you're gonna say she or her, not me or I. Okay, she or her. Okay. When you are finished, you are going to do part C. It says choose the best verb form to complete the questions. Use the interview above to help you then use the interview above to help you. Then ask and answer the questions with a partner. Okay, so just circle A or B, and then we'll work together in our breakout room. Okay, all right.